What I want to talk to my colleagues about here is the idea that we've got to not only worry about big data, but it's fast data. What's the challenge? Listen, if you're a geospatial analyst, an analyst writ large, if you're at NGA right now, let's just take NGA as an example, you're probably wondering, how do I do what my leadership is expecting? I can't keep up with the data I already get. I can't keep up with the current, mainly classified sources that I'm dealing with. And now our leadership is saying that we're going to open the floodgates and exponentially increase the amount of data coming in, primarily open sources, because of the explosion in open sources. I'm hearing that our agency will go to 90% unclassified, 10% classified, and that means all new, diverse sets of data that I haven't worked with in the past. I'm hearing people in the community talk about persistent surveillance, and I know what that means. That means more data. And I know that at the end of the day, I've got to do activity-based intelligence, which says that I've got to be able to answer the unknown unknowns, and the only way I can get to answering that is by having more data. Problem: I can't keep up with the data I have now. How do I handle a situation where more velocity, more variety, more volume, and oh, by the way, one of the things we don't often hear technologists talk about is veracity. With open source information coming in, how do I know it's credible? How do I know I'm not being spoofed? Well, the bottom line is it's automation. Automation has got to be the key, and automation is going to be through every segment of the architecture. It's going to need to be automation in terms of the collection systems knowing and automatically tipping and queuing and alerting each other because of time factors and latency. It's going to be about having an ability to do real-time ingest, correlation, enrichment, and then to run very sophisticated change detection algorithms against it. We've got to have the change detection looking at not only the pixels, but also looking at textual data and other structured and unstructured data to see if there are anomalous bits, if there's a change. If there's a change, is it important? And then to tee up that change prioritized for the analyst. An analyst is not going to turn to a machine and say, replace me. That's not going to happen. What an analyst would be willing to do and is willing to do is to say, help me prioritize. Let me know what's the most important thing to do next, to look at next, to think about next. Give me those important tips and cues, and that's where automation is going to be absolutely essential. Pieces of this are already in the system. What I'm talking about is tying this together. That's to do what are we looking at today, what's happening in the world today, what's happened in the past, but it'll also help to forecast. There are some key enabling activities that must happen. One is agile software development, but really agile overall. Agile is not just about software or hardware, it's a state of mind. Agile is about the idea of having companies that are building and delivering capability for that user, sit with that user, iterate with that user, and do spins and spirals as required to constantly evolve that architecture. This is no longer going to be a situation where we can have a waterfall approach where you state your requirement for an integrated architecture, and then 5 years from now it gets delivered and the requirements are not there, they haven't kept up. But, and the big but, is the cybersecurity aspect of this. You know, we've all worried through cyber, from WikiLeaks to Snowden. If you're out in the private sector, you're worrying about intrusions, you're worrying about insider threat as well as the external threats as well, stealing IP or intellectual property. But now, I think all would agree and understand that it's an exclamation point. You've got to protect it, you've got to protect the data with cyber. So my walk-off to you all is, they're already awash in data. We can't just keep asking analysts to take on more. What we've got to do is put the automation in place to enable them to do their jobs more effectively. Thanks for your time.